Nicola is the co-founder of Cliq as well as the CMO, and it is her second venture after having exited her first business a couple of years ago. And she achieved all of this under the age of 30, which is so impressive. So welcome, Nicola.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start with Cliq, the app. For someone who's never heard of it, what exactly is Cliq and how can they use it?
Yeah, so Cliq is a social networking and community app. So we're all about connecting like-minded people through interest-based communities and in-person events. I think where our real passion and what we're good at is the in-person stuff. So it's getting people out from behind the phone, it's getting people meeting new people and trying new things. It's an all-in-one tool for community leaders to manage, market and monetize everything in one place. We also work with brands that want to get in front of communities. So it's more than just the platform, but the whole core thesis of it is how do we help people to meet people? The idea came from myself wanting to meet people. I moved to London and was like, why is it so difficult? We're in one of the biggest cities in the world, so many people, but everyone's so head down, and no one's really meeting people unless you really put yourself out there, and you've got to make a lot of effort to go to that event, or you've got to spend so much time searching on social media for the run club you want to go to or whatever it is. There was no place for everything to exist all under one roof. And we noticed at the same time community was like this biggest buzzword. Everyone's talking about community, everyone's building these in real life spaces, but there was just no app for everything to exist. And I think no one's really done it since Facebook groups or maybe like Meetup back in the day, but both businesses are 25 years old. It's like, why has no one reinvented the wheel? So our partner Jason sat down and was like, okay, there's a huge gap in the market here. Let's just go for it and build it ourselves.
And it's funny you say how most of the social apps we know of have been invented quite a while back. I don't think we realized that. And most of them, I think, have lost the essence of their original mission.
Yes.
So while it might seem a bit, not outdated, but it might seem a bit like, oh, why would we need a community app? You know, there are so many apps out there.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to the original mission.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the apps out there, they're just keeping us scrolling. Like you think about Instagram, TikTok, it's not social. I feel like you don't really meet people through those platforms unless you're the kind of person that would put themselves out there and send a DM to a stranger. But realistically, probably 95% of the population wouldn't do that. So we're just sat there and we're just watching influencers, watching brands. Like our feeds aren't even full of our friends anymore because the algorithm prefers influencers.
You don't even see your friends. Even if you did follow only your friends, you just don't see that anymore.
Constantly fed ads, suggested posts, all of these things. So screen time's going up and up and up because of social media. We feel like we're connected because I can see what you're doing on your stories or whatever it is. But I don't actually know how you are and how you're doing and things that you've actually really been up to. And that's what real connection and community is the in-person element, which none of these platforms are pushing. Because why would they?
Yeah, exactly. The purpose is not there anymore. Yeah. So you've been dubbed by the press as the 30-year-old that is tackling loneliness, the loneliness crisis.
Bold statement.
That's a huge statement. And as you mentioned, you know, how can you be in a city with millions of people and just struggle to connect and meet people? So what was, I mean, you just mentioned that that's what started Cliq in the first place, but like, what was your experience? And I know you were, again, very pragmatic and practical. You even tried different tools and apps, which, you know, I had never thought of. But why not? Some of these tools are there to facilitate new encounters.
Yeah.
If, you know, most of the times people think of them as sometimes dating app or networking app, but ultimately it is to facilitate meeting new people. So, what was your experience?
Yeah, I think not just moving to London, but I've also lived in Australia for a little bit as well. So I travelled around a lot when I was younger and found myself in Melbourne for 2 of those years. And back then, not that it was ages ago, but it was even harder to meet people because there wasn't like your Bumble BFF and apps like that. Whereas now I feel like there's a lot of these dating app style friendship apps that are out there, but it's still one-on-one connection. And when I moved to London, I downloaded all these apps and I was using them. And you'd quickly be replying to someone like, hey, how are you? And they're like, yeah, I'm great. And they're like, do you want to meet for a coffee? And then you're like, oh, well, you're a stranger. I don't know anything about you. I think it's very different if you're connecting with someone on LinkedIn or you approach like a founder on Instagram. You kind of already know, you've seen their profile. But on a lot of these apps, you're practically meeting a stranger in a coffee shop. You don't even really know if it's that person. It doesn't feel very safe.
No.
And also, what do you do if you don't like that person? Like, you spent an hour with them for a coffee. Yeah, you might have took something from it. But if you walk away from that and be like, oh, probably never going to see each other again, feels like wasted time. Whereas community, if you're going to a book club and you're obsessed with reading, you could be the shyest person in the world. You can walk into that room and you can feel like you can have a conversation because you can talk about reading, talk about the book, whatever it is. It's common interest.
Yeah.
And I just found there was nothing like that. I was going to a lot of female founder networking events, just things you'd find on ticketing platforms. Everything was so like corporate and stuffy. It's like, come in here, wear a name tag, have a really cheap glass of wine, stand there and speak to 100 people and walk away and be like, I've still found no one. Because there was no common theme, no common interest. And I think people now, they want cool events to go to. They want to do things that are also good for themselves, which is why run clubs and walk clubs and like Pilates clubs are doing so well. Because you can walk into that room and you can meet people, but you can also do something more for yourself. So I learned a lot from the apps that were out there. There's those dating apps, and then there's also your Facebook groups, and the Facebook groups are so spammy. There's like hundreds of thousands of people in a group, and it's like 20s to 30s in London. It's not a community, and no one's finding connection through these places. But if you think about it, if you have to move to a new city tomorrow and you need to meet people, like, where would you go? You don't know.
Honestly, I don't know.
And if you don't have a workplace where you're meeting people, or now we work from home so much, even if you are in a corporate role, like, you're not having that social interaction with people.
Yeah, I really feel for the younger generation, especially the ones that were at university during COVID.
Yes.
And then you start your first job and it's mostly remote.
Yeah.
So where and how?
Yeah.
I mean, there must be, I think because of that, it must have created the need to find community in different ways. And we'll talk about this, like how Gen Z is changing their behaviors around this, which I think is very different from millennials, because they have this need, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to find solutions for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so many people have grown up not realizing, and then they get into the real world, you know what I mean? They've got to go get a job, and they're like finding places to live and all this stuff, and they're like, wow, like, I've got to do all these things, but I also don't have people around me. And it's quite scary to think, because it's like when you walk down the street and you just see everyone's head down on their phone on the tube, and I'm guilty of it so many times. But half the time, people aren't even doing anything productive.
No.
They're not texting their friends.
No, it's just
they're
addictive
not,
behavior.
It's just they're scrolling. I'm like, wow, this is the world that we live in now. I think you look back 10 years and you'd see like movies of, like, I don't know, people being obsessed with their phones and what it would do to them, and robots and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is actually coming true.
And there's a lot of places now that are testing like phone-free experiences, you know, like concerts and parties, because otherwise it's just like 200 people holding their phones recording the event. And the thing is, you don't actually experience it in the same way, right? Because you're looking at the screen, you're not looking at the person, so you're not connecting with the person. It's not the same thing.
It's not.
And your mind is preoccupied with like the act of filming, recording, texting.
Yeah.
It's so distracting.
It is, and you see it, don't you? And I'm sure we're all guilty of doing these things, but you feel like you should be doing it. You feel like you should be going to a concert, recording everything. But when do you ever watch those concert videos back on your phone? Like, you don't. You probably post it and then you never... But it's crazy.
Just for posting.
Yeah, I've been to places before where I went to the theatre once and they put stickers over your phones. And I was like, that's actually such a good idea, because also it keeps the magic of what's happening, because you can't show people, so people want to come because they're more intrigued. Whereas if you know everything that's going to happen before you go, you're probably not going to go. So I have seen a lot of things like that. We do have a lot of phone-free events on Cliq.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, so
I
it's
love
really...
that. I'm all about phone-free.
Yeah, it's really cool that... Obviously, we're an app, so it's very hard. Sometimes it feels very critical to be like, we're getting people out from behind the phone. But I do believe you need to use tech as a tool to do so, because how the hell are you going to find out about these events and these communities
100%.
without the tech?
Like, technology is not bad as long as it's used in the right way and for like a goal that is beneficial to the person. It can be great, you know?
Exactly.
And I think, I can't remember how you phrased it, but you said that for you, it's about using tech for that initial connection, and then you want people to interact in the offline world. So
definitely,
for you, it's not valuable for people to be on the app. You want people to find an event or a community and then physically attend, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like our metrics aren't tracking like screen time and how long people have been on the app for, because that's not our job. We want people to come on the app and find something. So the things that we're tracking is how many events people have been to, what events are they going to, what's the first community they join when they download the app, like how quick are they purchasing a ticket to an event, all of these things. It's all about that in-person connection. Whereas social media apps, it's like, how long has this person spent on the app?
You just want to trap the person
exactly,
there.
exactly.
And how much are they now spending in terms of time, but also money?
Yeah.
Scary. So how do you guarantee, I guess, that the community is quite valuable and safe and relevant? Because you gave the example of like Facebook groups or any other groups where there's like thousands of people. So how are your communities different in that sense?
Yeah, so we do vet all of our communities. There is an approval process with every community and every event that is put onto the platform. I think what we did really well in the beginning was go after communities that already exist. So go after communities that already have social media profiles, maybe they're using a WhatsApp group, a Discord, a Facebook group, whatever it is, speaking to the real person behind the community, because when they come on board Cliq, not only do they bring users with them, but we know that they're safe, we know that they're reputable, we know that they've got like the community in mind.
Also that it's active, right?
It's active, yeah, exactly.
Which is so important.
Yeah.
There's nothing more demotivating that, let's say you're shy or you're not comfortable with putting yourself out there and you finally do it and then you're disappointed because the community is not active, right?
Yes.
It throws you off, it puts you off.
Exactly.
So let's rewind a bit to was it your gap year where it all started, or when you started traveling?
Yeah, it wasn't a gap year, but I quit university.
Okay, oh, you quit university
quit.
completely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so another success story that happens after quitting university. I mean, I have this conversation with friends all the time, you know, quit university, don't go to university, start working
so
young, you know,
hard.
it's just... I mean, ultimately, I think it depends on personal preferences and circumstances, but yeah, I think for our generation at least, we were taught you have to like study hard, get good grades, get to the best university, finish university, and that was like the linear path to success. But it's so not. It can be, but it's so not the only way of doing it.
Yeah.
So I love meeting people that have done it differently and have had the courage to, just do it their own way.
Yeah, I think, for me, it just wasn't for me. And I knew it wasn't going to be for me, but I went.
So you quit, go traveling, and then you start your first business.
Yes, so we started it whilst we were traveling.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so cliche, but going traveling at that age changed my life.
It makes sense, you know, it's the first time you're somewhat of a young adult, you have independence, you're thrown out in the world, you're coming out of your bubble.
Yeah.
And you're experiencing the world. I don't want to say the real world, but you're just experiencing one facet of the world in your own way.
Yeah, and it is. You're just thrown into the deep end. I didn't really know what I was getting myself in for. I went with my partner, who obviously you've got each other, so it's a lot easier. I don't know how people do it on their own. That is like another level of putting yourself out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
I did my first solo trip last year.
Wow.
I was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
My partner was not happy about that. It's challenging.
It is.
It's not easy, but it was. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's for me. I like my alone time, but I also like that sense of, you know.
I'm the same. It's like sharing experience with someone, isn't it? Like you see something beautiful and you're like, oh, okay.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, I have to come back here. We have to do this again. And I'm like, actually, I just would rather have my friend or my partner or my sister, you know, someone to share this with.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's very formative for sure.
It is. And I think, going traveling at that age, we booked a one-way flight, didn't really know how long we were going to be, told my parents we were going to be like 3 months, and then ended up being away for 3 years, which is crazy. So we did all Southeast Asia, and then I've had a friend going to Melbourne, and he was like, why don't you come with us? And we went, and we just ended up staying there for 2 years. I was a makeup artist, so I was working in kind of like their version of Sephora. It's called Mecca, and then trying to do freelance on the side, but found it really difficult to get clients. So the whole 2 years, I was grafting so hard to make connections in a city where I didn't know no one, building my portfolio, doing so much stuff for free. And just saw a gap in the market with that. I actually went home to Jason just on a rant one day. I was like, why is there no platforms? Why is it so hard? Like, we use Airbnb all the time, all of these platforms to make things easier, but there's nothing for beauty that's for independent freelancers. And he was like, there must be, let me have a look, I'll find something, we'll put you on something. Was looking, and he was like, there's nothing out there. And then it just turned out we were like, why don't we create it ourselves? I think we went away to find ourselves and what we wanted to do. Both knew that we're quite entrepreneurial, never probably thought we'd do anything together. We just thought maybe we'd go away and find a business idea, or maybe we'd get a really amazing job and we'd figure out what we wanted to do in our lives. We didn't really know at that time. And as time went on, whilst we were there, we were just kept talking about maybe we could do something for ourselves, maybe we could do something together. And then when this idea came, it was like light bulb moment. Okay, this is the idea that was supposed to come to us. And we just went for it. Like, yes, sat on a beach in Sri Lanka, like building this website. It was awful. Like, I look back, the first website and brand was awful. But
you
like,
have to start somewhere. And I think that's the lesson there. It doesn't matter what that first website, first app, first logo, first branding looks like. What matters is that it's the first step.
Yeah.
And you cannot get anywhere unless you take that first step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it is like, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cringe a little bit, but it got me where I am today.
Exactly.
And at that time, yeah, maybe like you didn't really care because you didn't really know it was bad. You were obsessed with it, you loved it. And then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, how the hell did we love that? But you've got to start with something.
There's that sense of naiveness.
Yes.
And a bit of healthy delusion, I guess, when you're young and you don't really know so much about the market. And this is what I really like about your story, is that you identified a problem, you had the idea, you kind of just went for it. A lot of people get so stuck on the ideation part, the market research, the SWOT analysis, all of this, and sometimes that can be so crippling.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying don't do any research, don't have any guiding measure, metric, direction, whatever, but just don't get stuck at that step.
Yeah, exactly, because so many people have business ideas and they sit on them for months and months, maybe even years sometimes, and then the time comes and someone's already done it. I think, like, if you do have an idea and you can't stop thinking about it at night and it's this like burning desire and you've got that gut feeling that it's going to be something, just try it. Because also if it fails, like, you can do something else.
In the meantime, you've tried it, you've failed, and you've moved on to something else.
I think people are so scared of failing.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, people are so scared of that first step, of failing, but you just can't.
No, you can't. No. Like, it is scary, and obviously I did it with my partner as well, which makes things a lot easier. So you've got someone to bounce off of and share ideas with. But honestly, we had no idea what we were doing. Absolutely no idea. We were Googling everything that was possible. Like, imagine if ChatGPT was available at that time. Like, maybe we would have done so. So everything you just had to figure out yourself. Listening to podcasts, reading books, all of these things, and just figuring it out and just learning as you go.
And it teaches you the right skills to be a founder.
Yeah, it does. And when we came back to the UK, it really started to take off because that was just after COVID. And I think the industry changed. So I do also believe in business, you need timing. To be on your side. So it really took off after COVID. And I think it was all about right timing for us with that.
I do want to ask, so you and your partner, obviously you just mentioned it helps a lot. But what is the reality of that? Like, how do you guys balance personal and professional life? Like, when is it helpful to be business partners with your life partner, and when is it a bit complicated?
It has its pros and cons constantly. I think with the first business, it was tricky because we both didn't really know what our skill sets were, and we didn't really know what we were doing. So a lot of the time we were doing everything together. So every meeting, every email, absolutely everything would pretty much be done together because we were figuring things out. And we soon realised what our strengths and weaknesses were, and soon realised what we really enjoyed and what we wanted to do. And I felt like we wasted so much time with that. But we didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. Exactly. And when I look back, I think we probably could have been so much productive if we'd figured that out beforehand. But we jumped into it. It's fine. We learned from it. Whereas now with Cliq, we have very separate roles. So Jason's more product, tech, business. I'm more marketing, communities, partnerships, more the creative side of things. There's so many things that he does that I don't need to know. And there's so many things that I do that he doesn't need to know. Like, we can go off for the day, do our own thing, come back together. We'll have dinner together and we'll talk about the day. Similar to what you would do in separate jobs. But it does get difficult when there's just no switch off, because with a business in general, there's no switch off. And then you're both doing the same business. So everything, even if you're not thinking about work at that moment in time, he probably is. So it's just so hard. But then also when it's your baby and you're so passionate about it and it doesn't feel like work, you don't mind talking about it. We're very like mindful of if we go out for dinner or if we're doing something, try not to talk about work. Like it probably will end up talking about work, but we'd never go for dinner and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened today. I'm so annoyed. Yeah. We talk about like goals and exciting things and like what do you want to do in the future? Like where does this business lead us? It's more talking about the aspirational side of things as opposed to the problems. So we're very mindful and conscious of that to try and separate it in some way. But there is no secret sauce for it. It's just what works. And I feel so grateful that I can do that with my partner. We both have the same life goals, we both have the same vision. We've already been together for so many years. We went to school together, we've grown up together, traveled together, all of these things. So then we're building a business together. Like not many people have that story, and we're both on that same journey. So we both want exactly the same things. And a lot of relationships of co-founders like really affect the business, because if you've got two very different people that have their own families, their own lives, and then they're not aligned, that can really affect the business. Whereas for me and Jason, it's like we're so life-aligned that we're probably not going to fall out and argue about silly things because we're both on the same mission.
Yeah, you're both committed to the same long-term vision, which really helps.
Yeah.
So tell me about selling the first business. Like, how was that experience? What did it feel like? Was it, I guess it can be mixed with different types of feelings and emotions.
Yeah, it definitely is amazing. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I can't believe we did all of that in 3 years. Like 3 years is such a short amount of time. We scaled so quickly within those 3 years. So it means it comes with a lot of learnings, a lot of lessons. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that that journey panned out the way that it did, because it was so incredible. But then you do have that like anticlimax afterwards, because you feel like your identity's been taken away. So like if you're not the founder of that business anymore because it's moved on for whatever reason, then who are you? And I did find after that, I spent a lot of time of figuring out like who I am. It's like when you walk into a room and you introduce yourself like, I'm the founder of, I do this, whatever it is. Like I didn't have that anymore. And it's such a good place to be. And I'm very lucky that we had that time to figure things out. And the acquisition gave us time, it gave us capital, whatever it was, to start a new business. But we didn't have the idea for Cliq for a while. I say a while, it was like 3 months. We thought we'd quick. We thought we'd take like a year out and travel and do all these things. But I think when you're so young and that happens, like you just want to go on to the next thing constantly. And we live in a world where we're constantly on to the next. We don't really celebrate our wins that much. We're just like, what's next? What's next? So I feel like in that period, it felt a bit lost. Because I was like, I don't know what I want to do now.
You said that period, it was only 3 months.
I know.
But it must have felt like ages. Because,
it did.
as you said, it's this anticlimax. And, you know, you hear founders talk about this a lot. It's a huge loss of your identity, you know? And it's, for so long, you're defined by that role in that company. And then it's like, who are you?
Exactly. Like at the same time, it being such a huge achievement, it's such like a huge loss. Because then you're like, well, what do I do now? I don't have that business. It's like you wake up in the morning and you want to get on the laptop and work on it, and you're like, okay, it's not there anymore. And like you're so proud of what you've done, and you're so like, this is amazing. I can't believe this has happened. But then you've kind of got to figure out your life again. I can imagine it's like when you have kids and they grow up and they leave home, and then you're like, oh wait, what do I do now? People with kids probably hate when I relate business to kids, but it feels like having a baby and then it growing up.
I think psychologically there must be some things in common, you know, with that experience and the emotions. It's in French, I don't remember exactly how it's phrased, but it's basically, they say it's like when a bird leaves the nest.
Okay, yes.
So it's this feeling of emptiness.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's hard because you just, especially if you don't really know what you want to do next, and you don't really have that set plan. Like some people, they sell a business, they've already got a plan for what they're doing straight afterwards.
But is that healthy?
Probably not. You need time.
Exactly, you need time. You need time to process. I mean, to just let things settle and process and figure out what's next. And also, new opportunities and new ideas come in these moments of stillness. As scared as we are of being in these moments of stillness, that is when creativity happens. Yeah. So in your case, did you already know you wanted to start a new business?
I think we knew we would at some point because I can't ever imagine myself doing anything else. And that's all I ever knew. Do you know what I mean? That's all I ever knew. So I knew we'd start something else. Didn't know if it'd be together again. We didn't really know that. We weren't really sure. Obviously, we worked really well together and we're so happy with it, but it is very intense when you work with your partner. So we were like, let's go away for a little bit. So we booked a one-way flight to Bali. I was like, I need to get out of London, like get me on the beach, get me in the jungle, turn my phone off, not speak to anyone. And that's where the idea came from. Whereas the whole time we were in London, we didn't really have any ideas because you're still in that hustle like mentality. I was still going to networking events a lot and like trying to meet female founders, trying to get inspired, trying to figure out what I want to do next. It was constantly on my mind like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do every single day? And then you went away. And I was like, okay, let's not think about it. Let's just relax, let it settle, like enjoy time together, experience new things. And that's where the idea of Cliq came from because like you said, the best ideas don't happen from being sat behind the laptop, working day in, day out. It is when you take yourself out of your environment so you can give yourself space to think.
Yeah, you need to put yourself outside of your day-to-day, outside of the constraints of what your mind is comfortable with.
Yeah.
Give yourself a new perspective.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was also in Bali, when was it? I've lost track of time now. I think 2 years ago when I took my first work sabbatical.
Really?
Yeah, when I stopped working at Farfetch and then gave myself 6 months of not thinking about what to do next, which for me was so difficult.
Yeah.
You know, I've always had a plan, a goal, a direction, and I'm like, you know what? This is the time to do this. And that's when I got inspiration from my other business, which I'm doing in parallel to the podcast. And I really cherish that moment and that feeling because it comes to you.
Yeah, and it feels so natural as well because it's not like you've been like, okay, I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to think of a business idea and I'm going to go for it. It just comes and then it happens so naturally that you have this idea and then you're like working on it, you're thinking about it, and the more that you do, you're like, okay, this feels right. And I do think you always have that gut feeling when you know something's right.
Totally, yeah. So what was different the second time around?
Oh, I think having more knowledge, having more confidence probably. Within that period, learned so much, spoke to so many different people, got to shadow so many different people. Like we learn a lot. And with that first business, we're like, we need to be sponges. Every room that we go into, like no matter if you feel imposter syndrome or not, like walk into it and try and take something away from it, whether it's connection or whether it's knowledge. And I think we were really good at doing that. And I'm so glad we did because now with Cliq, it feels like we just have a little bit more figured out. Like there's still mistakes that you make. And especially now we're getting to a point where the business has grown so quick that it's grown bigger than the first business, which is crazy.
How long has it been now?
It's been live 1.5 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it is still a baby, but we've made so much more traction with that. And I think it's because in those first 6 months, a year, we knew exactly what to do because we'd done it before. We knew what not to waste our time on. We knew what avenues could work for us. Even though it's very different, like the first business was a marketplace and it was beauty. We've still kind of treated Cliq as a bit of a marketplace, and that's how we've managed to grow. It's like supply and demand. You need enough communities and events before you have members. So we learned a lot from the first business that we could take into the second. And I do think it allowed us to do things so much quicker and so much easier. Whereas now we've got to a point where the stuff that we're doing is new and we've never done it before.
Now it's new territory.
Yeah. And it's scary. I feel like I'm back in that position that I was like however many years ago, 6 years ago when I started the first business, maybe more actually. But I feel like I'm back in that position now, like learning new things.
Yeah, there's
I think that's how you grow.
Yeah, because also for the first business, if I'm not mistaken, you didn't have to do fundraising, right?
No, so we went straight into an acquisition.
Exactly. Yeah. You were self-funded, and then you sold the business, which is very smooth in a way.
Yeah, and it's quite unheard of that normally people get investment and they grow and they get investment and then they grow and then they get the acquisition. But for us, it went straight from, bootstrapping to acquisition. Yeah. So now, when we're raising funding for Cliq, it's very different.
A new experience.
Yeah, completely new experience, especially the stage we're at now and we're raising with like funds and VCs and things. It's like whole new territory. You have to learn new things. I think you've got to be open to learning because you can build a business and you can stay in that comfortable moment and you can be like, okay, it's growing slowly, just keep it at that. But for me, I'm like, no, I want the challenge again. I want to do new things and I want to try new things.
As soon as it gets too comfortable, you know, it's time
oh my gosh, yes. Change things up.
And I want to talk a little bit about the future of community and also how you're seeing people do things differently, especially the younger generations. I mean, I was reading about this. I think you posted, you attended an event not long ago where you were talking about this. And I found it really interesting that there were studies saying that Gen Z is less enthusiastic than millennials about traditional platforms. Obviously, they use them heavily, but they're really skeptical. They don't trust them as much, and they actually turn to other forms of media for their trusted information, let's say. So what are you, can you tell me more about that? Like, what are you observing? And I guess, therefore, how does that impact the way you're building Cliq?
Yeah, I think for us, we've learned a lot through the journey of building Cliq from beginning until now. And we've learned a lot about like consumer behavior, how they behave, how different demographics behave, what they're looking for. And we've been able to build Cliq in such a sustainable way that we've learned a lot from our communities and from their members, which I think is a really good place to be. For us, we would like look after the community. They look after their community members for us. Whereas so many other platforms are like user drive, and the platform's not what they wanted. So I really do think you have to listen to your audience and understand what's going on in the world. When I went to the round table, it was really cool. So it was by the International Advertising Association, and everyone in there was from media, or they're from really big corporates, or they were part of this kind of thing that they set up. And I was the only person from a really small platform. And I was like, wow, it's very cool to be put in these rooms. And everyone in that room was obsessed with what we were doing, because they were like, wow, this changes the way that people interact, but it also changes the way that media spend, that brands spend, all of these different things. And I learned so much from that about Gen Z and what they're wanting. They don't want these huge traditional platforms anymore. Like you said, they're still using it. But like when I grew up, I had Facebook. And Facebook, if you look back on it, it was probably the only social network. Because you were connecting with other people, like you connect with someone from a different school, you'd be chatting with people, all of that, constantly like updating your status, commenting, typing, all of these things. But like the younger generation haven't had that.
No
one's had a Facebook account. I don't blame them, because it is really outdated and spammy now.
It's not what it was when we were 15.
Exactly. But now they've got Instagram, they've got Snapchat, and they've got TikTok. All of those, you're just watching other people, you're just consuming.
It's like a one-way consumption of content.
Exactly. And I think it's Gary Vee said that next year is going to be the year of unplugging for Gen Z, because they're getting to a point where they're spending so much time on their phone, they realise they're not having any social interaction, they're not actually connected to the people that they're viewing because they're never really chatting with them. They're going to go to a point where they're like, do anything to get rid of their phones. So like the phone-free events are going to come really big, like phone-free holidays, trips, everything. Yeah, people are going to retreat to that, which is like the extreme. It's like, why can't there be a middle ground where we can use our phone for good? We know when to put it down. We're not addicted to it. We're not pulling it out in every uncomfortable situation. But now it's a habit. It's really hard to break that.
And I think that's why these events are, although they're extreme, they can be very beneficial. Because if you've only known that and that's become your habit ever since you're, I don't know, some people have a phone at 10 years old, you know, and you're now 25, it's been 15 years. You've never been one day without your phone. Can you imagine? So you have to be a bit drastic.
You do.
Break that habit. Obviously, a few days can be very daunting, but ultimately you start to realize the value of being switched off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can take some of that into your everyday life with moderation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another thing that we noticed with Gen Z is that they are going to more like closed groups, smaller platforms, more niche. They don't trust the government, they don't trust the media, all of these things, because we're just being sold so much misinformation all of the time. So it's like they're retreating to these smaller communities where it's like real people, real reviews, all of that. Like they really value what someone has to say about something as opposed to listening to the media. I think it's so interesting to see the shift in that. And then I think what it does as these people get older is it probably makes a better world, to be honest, because people are going to be more conscious of what they're doing, and be conscious how they're spending their time, their money, all of these things, because they're thinking more intentionally. Whereas for us, I think about when influencers first came out, you'd follow an influencer, I'd buy everything that she had because I was like, oh my gosh, she uses it, so I want to use it. Now when you realise that influencers are being paid a lot of money to promote that product, you're more cautious of what you're doing. And like, I feel like overconsumption, all these things, it won't be a thing in the future because people are now more switched on.
And so what is the future of Cliq? What are you, what's on the horizon? What are you excited about?
Oh, so much. I do feel like I'm very lucky to be in a place where I'm excited every day of what we're doing. And I think it's because we have that human connection element, you know, when you meet someone and they're like, oh, I have your app on my phone, or like, oh, I've heard about Cliq, or I don't know, we get random messages from people and they're like, oh, I met a friend on Cliq, I just want to say thank you so much. Like, that is what keeps me going, and that's the feeling that we just want to give to so many people. For Cliq, we want it to be a worldwide platform. We're starting to grow in Australia, a few different hotspots around the world. So we have some in Bali, we've got Milan, we've got Barcelona, starting to grow a little bit, which is really exciting. But I just see Cliq as being in every big city, country that there is, and just helping people to meet people and connect. But yeah, it's a really exciting place to be. I feel like it's quite scary that we're in a position where we could change the world. Like, we could change the way that people interact
and have a real impact.
Exactly. Like, imagine being like the Facebook of this generation, and like the impact that Facebook had on people, and that everyone knows what it is. That is one, so exciting, but also very scary.
What scares you about it?
I think it's just it becoming so big. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what we want, but the thought of it, because we've never done it before, I suppose it's that whole unknown that's scary. But I believe that that's how you grow, isn't it? Putting yourself out your comfort zone and doing something big, and like, you've got to have big goals that scare you, otherwise your goals aren't big enough, because you're probably going to achieve them. So you've got to have these big, amazing, crazy dreams to actually get you to places as well.
So what about the communities that you're part of or that you attend?
So I have my own community.
Okay.
Yes, I have a community of female founders. So we do monthly events, start off as dinners. So we started a supper club, but then we realised that people want other events. So we've done
the supper club started from that community.
Yes,
nice.
yes.
Okay.
And now we do like networking events, we do drinks, we did one with Townhouse, everyone got their nails done. Just trying to do cool things that women want to go to. I think it's so hard to find really good female founder events. There aren't those stuffy ones that I was talking about at the beginning.
Super corporate, dry.
Exactly. And that's been so good for me, one, to use the app as a community leader myself and be like, okay, this is how it works.
Yeah, and you're the target.
Exactly.
So it makes it easier to think in the way of what would someone like me need from this type of community.
Exactly. And then actually host my own events, understanding what goes into that, so we can also help our community leaders to run better events and support them. So it has been like, even though that wasn't the purpose of it, it was I do it with my friend, let's create events for female founders to connect. It's actually been such a good like market research.
Yeah, for you to be on the other side.
For me to be on the other side, exactly. So yeah, I do that. We do monthly events, and yeah, it's going really, really well. It's really taken off, because I don't think anyone's really doing cool stuff in that female founder space. And then other than that, loads of different things. I love like wellness stuff. So if someone invites me to a wellness event, I am there.
You're an avid runner, aren't you?
I was.
Oh, you were.
I was. I did a half marathon this year, which was intense, but I haven't really ran since. Now it's cold. It's really hard. I do think running is something that it's more of a mental thing of thinking, okay, today I'm going to put my running stuff on and go for a run. Whereas going to Pilates feels so much easier because someone's just telling you what to do. Like last night I was like, I need to go to Pilates because if I go to the gym or go for a run, I'm never going to get myself through it. Whereas if someone's forcing me to do exercise, that's sometimes what you need. You just need someone to tell you what to do.
I mean, I think also when you're a founder and you're so active and making decisions all the time, you get like decision-making fatigue.
Yes,
so do you want to go to the gym and have to think about
what do I need
which
to do?
movement, which exercise, which weight, how many reps? Like sometimes you just need to rest your mind.
You do.
And just lie there and someone is
told.
like, okay, now stand up. Now, you know, whatever pose it is.
It's the best. It's the best. So yeah, anything wellnessy related.
And what are the biggest or the like main categories of your community? So you mentioned health, wellness, book clubs.
Yeah.
What else can people find?
Oh my God, we have a community for absolutely everything. Okay. We've got like swimming communities. They go to the Lidos in London and they do swimming, which is really cool. Cycling, loads of sport ones, so like paddles, really big as well. Then you've got more like your entrepreneur groups or like your marketing groups that are really like sector focused, corporate girlies. So people that work in corporates. We've got like chess. We've got book clubs are really big, so I feel like they have the monthly different books. They keep really engaged. All sorts. Like honestly, absolutely everything. We're UK wide as well, so we've got communities in Cornwall that are like surfing and like dipping in the water. We've got absolutely everything. Even just like coffee shop meetups. People that just go to different coffee shops and just try out different pastries. Like there is honestly a community for any interest.
Imagine you are passionate about something and you feel like doing it. what you would naturally do is message a few of your friends.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this bakery, or oh, we
Yeah.
can go swim in this lake. Do you want to check it out? Do you want to go? And sometimes, even though you do have friends,
Yeah.
everyone is so busy with their
Yeah,
schedules,
I know.
coordinating. Maybe the next available slot that you both have is in 3 months, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
and then you
crazy.
just end up not doing that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So if you can just plug in
Yeah.
to that thing that's already happening,
Exactly.
and then you go and you meet people that are also like fans, or you know, really appreciate that activity, is just so fulfilling in a way.
I agree.
And encouraging, you know. So
definitely.
yeah, it's amazing. I guess you are tackling loneliness.
Yes, you're one step at a time.
Yeah,
One step at a time.
it is the epidemic of our time and age, and it's, I think for such a long time it was thought of as this like really complicated thing to tackle. But ultimately, the solution to loneliness is just having friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's as
So
simple
true.
as that. And it's
So true.
sometimes you just need one friend.
Yeah, yeah.
2 friends.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. Just having those moments of connection.
Yeah.
And
so true.
that's it. I have one last question.
Okay.
Oh, She Can Drive. That's the name of the podcast. So for you, what does it mean to be in the driver's seat of your life?
Oh, good question. I feel like it's just being in control as much as you can of like your decisions and the outcome. I think it's really important. It can be so hard when you're a founder because I feel like you're pulled in so many different directions, because you'll read one thing and it'll tell you to do this, and you listen to a podcast and they did that, and then someone will be like, no, don't do that, do this. You've really got to stay grounded and stay true to yourself through those moments and know, okay, like you can control it. You can, ultimately, you're in control of your own like destiny. Like you're the only person that can make the decisions to put yourself forward. So I do feel like it's being in control, not being like a control freak where you don't do anything else, being open to things and open-minded, but also just knowing that, okay, I'm on this path, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to do anything that I can to get there, but just knowing that that is your like destination.
Yeah, like staying focused.
Yeah, staying focused. It's really hard when we live in a world where we're distracted constantly by noise. There's always something new and shiny out there. But I do think you've got to stay really focused and stay really determined on your goals.
How do you stay grounded? Because I feel that you're a very grounded person.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. That's such a nice compliment. Just like really looking after myself. I feel like that's what I've noticed more recently, is the more you have time for yourself, the more you have time for the business.
True.
Whereas previously I'd be like, I'm going to work every single hour of every single day of every single weekend. All I'm going to do is work, eat and sleep, and that's it. And the business didn't do as well as it has now because I'm very mindful of if I take that walk, or if I take a little bit of time out, or if I just have a night off, whatever it is. Don't get me wrong, I do work a lot of hours, but when I'm feeling stagnant, taking myself away from that to be like, okay, you know, I need time for me, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And the only way you can build a business is by looking after yourself. Because if you're not in the right mindset and you're not making the right decisions because you're so frazzled all the time, like the business isn't going to do well. So I do really put myself first now. I think I've become quite selfish, not in a horrible way, but in a way that...
In a healthy way.
In a healthy way.
Yeah, I think we need to normalize being a little bit selfish.
Yeah, 100%. Because if, okay, I've got an event tonight and I really know deep down that I don't want to go, and I know that if I do go, I'm going to burn myself out, like just say no.
Yeah.
Like this person's not going to hate you forever because you've said no. Like people are really understanding as well. That's also one thing I've realised. I would be so scared to bail on something or tell someone, sorry, I can't attend that event, or I can't do this, because I'd be so scared of what they think. But if you're honest and like, look, I'm so stressed, I'm so sorry, I can't make it tonight, they're going to be like, fine, don't worry, it's all good. And at the end of the day, that's the people you want around you.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that's an amazing way to close the episode of today. Thank you so much. I absolutely love that conversation. And we're gonna do some fire questions.
Oh, okay.
The moment you knew Cliq was working?
I think it was going to an event on my own that wasn't a Cliq event, turning up not knowing someone in the room, and the first 3 people that I spoke to all had Cliq on their phone. And that was a moment for me where I'm in a room of strangers, I don't know anyone, and I walk in and say, oh, I'm the founder of Cliq, and they're like, oh, I love your app, I have it on my phone, and they show me all the events that they've been to. And another one actually is Ella, our employee, has seen someone using Cliq on the bus. I've had someone text me someone using Cliq on the tube. So I think it's like seeing it in the wild in situations what you haven't created.
Yeah. Seeing it being used.
Yeah.
The easiest decision you've made as a founder?
Starting Cliq.
Mm.
Starting both businesses, actually. I do think I couldn't imagine life without either of them, and I'm so glad we did them both because, like I was speaking in the podcast, timing is everything, and we've hit perfect timing with both of them. So yeah, making the decision always.
The most difficult decision you've ever made?
Probably, again, the same is probably the most difficult in a way that you have to be prepared to let a lot of things go to start a business, whether it's relationships, whether it's certain things in your lifestyle, whatever it is. You do have to really think about your actions and what you're doing as a person. So I think at the same time of it being the most amazing thing, it's also the most difficult because you do have to change your lifestyle to fit around it because it is your baby.
That makes so much sense. The yin and the yang of the business.
Yes.
Your go-to ritual before a big day?
Oh, a morning routine. I'm such a big morning routine girl. No phone. So phone on Do Not Disturb for at least, if I can do an hour, amazing. But if I'm in a rush and it's 30 minutes, that's still fine. Like no notifications. Just do things that make you feel good. Like have a cup of tea. Maybe I'll do a bit of journaling. I've got into yoga a lot recently. So doing like even 5 minutes of yoga every morning. Just doing things that make you feel good. So then when you're ready for the day, you're like, okay, I've had my quiet, peaceful time in the morning.
It's just 1 hour, but it makes such a difference.
Exactly.
A lesson you wish you learned earlier?
Be careful who you trust.
Right.
Juicy one.
Yeah. Suspense, mystery. If you weren't a founder, what would you be doing?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Just traveling the world.
Why not?
Yeah, just seeing different things, traveling the world. Yeah. There's nothing else I'd do other than being a founder unless I could do absolutely nothing.
Oh, well, there you go.